Weapons and armor bought and sold.
What was once old is new again.
Fresh horses. These still horses.
Nox Archaist.
One thing I'd like to do is perhaps equip my characters with better weapons. Right now I only have hunting knives. So we're going to go talk to the merchant over here. And I'll hit T and the left arrow. And he says, welcome to Stick It and Prick It. First of all, let's see what we have here. I'm going to hit the 4 key to go back to my own provisions. I only have 2 torches, but I have 4 lockpicks. And then you can see that I have a hunting knife, and the 2 asterisks indicate that 2 of my characters have those equipped. I'm going to hit the 7 key to go back to the store, and I want to see about buying a short sword. So those are 8 gold. I have 11, so I can buy 1. So I just hit enter to buy it. I typed 1, and now I have that. And then let's go ahead and we'll also buy some torches. So we'll just get 2 torches because I don't have much money left. And I'll hit escape to get out of the store. Now that I have my weapon, I'm going to go ahead and equip it. So I'll hit tab twice to bring up my inventory. I'll hit 2 to go to weapons. You can see right now Rift has a hunting knife. I'll just go down to short sword using the arrow keys and hit enter to equip the short sword and unequip the hunting knife. Hit escape to get out of there. Now that I have my first companion and I've made some progress, I'm going to go ahead and save the game. I'm going to hit Q, and then it's going to ask me which save slot I want to use. I'll just hit 1 to save it in the first save slot. You can use either one. What I typically do is I use save slot 1 for longer term saves where I know that I'm in a safe place. And I use save slot 2 when I'm in a dungeon and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to make it out alive. That way, if the worst case happens and I save in an unwinnable state, I can always go back to save slot 1. But you can do it any way you want. Now that I have 2 characters in my party, I want to start thinking about what type of characters these are and what I want them to become. I've started thinking about Rift as perhaps more of a mage type, whereas Bridget will be more of my fighter. So I'd like to actually rearrange the order of these characters to reflect that. If I hit the N key, it'll actually let me swap characters. And to do this, you just pick the first character that you want to swap and then the second character. In this case, I only have 2 people in my party, so it's easy. And then they'll just switch the order. Now, this doesn't actually change anything on the screen other than the order in the character roster. The order of characters matters the most in combat. The first 3 characters are considered fighters and will be placed at the front of the battle. The remaining characters will be considered either ranged or spellcasters, and they'll be placed in the back of the battle. In quick combat, the order becomes especially important because only the first 3 characters will use melee weapons, whereas the other 3 characters will only cast spells or use ranged weapons. Now that we've rearranged our characters, I want to go ahead and go into the inn and show how the different talk modes work. So I'm going to go up to this NPC here and hit the T key and the up arrow to talk to this person. It says, you see an old sea dog who looks like he spends hours sitting on a stool. So I can just talk to him in the normal voice mode like you see there at the bottom. My name is Styles Aranis. Let's ask him what his job is. Sailing the seas. These days I do a lot of sailing, but mostly not at sea. In addition to talking in a normal voice, you can also yell at NPCs and you can also whisper at them. And this is especially useful for certain NPCs, and when it's useful will usually be apparent from the situation. So for example, in a crowded and noisy bar, you might have to yell at one of the patrons to get them to hear you. Or if you're talking to someone who wants to tell you about some secret, they might actually want you to whisper so that the entire bar doesn't hear what they're saying. So just for fun, let's hit the tab key to change the voice mode to yell and ask the sailor about his day's sailing. Pipe down, you'll wake the Kraken! All right, so he doesn't seem to want to respond to that. I can hit the tab key again to get to whisper mode, and then let's just ask him again about sailing. Eh? Talking to my good ear. All right, so clearly this guy wants to talk just in a normal tone of voice. However, as you go through the game, you'll definitely find characters who want to talk in different voice modes. Sometimes you'll have to experiment to see what works best for the voice mode, but usually it'll be apparent from the situation. All right, let's finish up here, and I think it's time to actually go out and try some combat. I think we're ready to do that now. We've got two characters. They both have short swords. We're only first level, so we're not very strong. So we're going to stick pretty close to the town so we can run back in case we get hurt. Well, let's head on out.